Yep.
Okay.
So thank you everyone for joining. A couple Zoom rules for those of you who are new or haven't been to one of our lunch and learns. Welcome. Please mute yourself when you're not speaking. We recommend speaker view for presentation. Video sharing is optional, though we love to see all your smiling faces. And especially at the Q&A at the end, where we can really get to know our guest speaker. You can type all questions and comments into the chat. And if you have any questions, feel free to raise your virtual hand or raise your actual hand. I'll keep an eye out and I'll moderate as well any questions coming in to the chat too. A quick update from Autism Tree. We have now had 531 brand new families who have filled out our intake forms for our programs to join our community since January 1st, 2003. So a lot of you who have been on our Lunch and Learns know that we do these updates every single week. So welcome to all of our new families. Last year, we did a total of 767 brand new families, which is amazing. So welcome to all of our new families. We are definitely going to hit that. That was our highest record to date, and we're definitely on track to exceed that number this year. So we appreciate, everybody logging in. And as you may know, we offer 20 different programs. 9 are in person, 7 are hybrid, 4 are virtual. All of our in-person programming is in San Diego County, though that's why we have the hybrid and virtual programs to join for anybody to Zoom in anywhere and join our programs too. We have 10 upcoming events on our calendars as of today from September and October. These are fun family events. This week, we have our adaptive dance class for ages 13 through 24 at Tap Fever Studios. That's in Pacific Beach. It happens at noon and it's super fun. We have our, and I'm really excited for our second year of partnering with the University of San Diego women's and men's basketball teams. We're doing our meet and greet this Saturday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on the University of San Diego campus. It's our, as many of you know, we have our USD is athletics is our longest running community partnership. So we're really excited to launch our second year and partner with these basketball players, which are amazing. We have 602 videos now on our Autism Tree YouTube channel, which is insane. We started with around 30 back in 2020, and now we have really launched our amazing community of resources and videos that you can go back and watch on our YouTube channel. So we highly recommend that, including 152 of these lunch and learns that are all on their own playlist. So you can go back and rewatch and share anytime you'd like. So if you know a family impacted by autism, feel free to share any of those resources. So now I'm going to pass it off to Dana, and she's going to introduce our 153rd Lunch and Learn guest speaker, Will Soiland. Thank you, Will, for joining us today, and I'll pass it to Dana.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here with you guys and just really touched because I told Will ever since we spoke about his journey on the Camino, I keep telling my husband Todd that the Camino is calling me. I am getting it on my social media every day and seeing people's stories and just really sincerely wowed by the whole thing and the fact that Will has done such a big part of the Camino, if not all of it. I'm not super knowledgeable yet, even though I want to be. I'm always touched by the human spirit and what we can accomplish is kind of unquantifiable. And I really, Rebecca and I co-parent Autism Tree every day by trying to open up as many doors as possible for all the families we've served. Currently, we've served a generation of families, and most of those families, the kids are going to college. I just wanted to share that because I've planted the seed with Will. If he does this, I would love some of our kids in that age range to be even one to be able to experience it. And it just brings me a lot of joy when I see people of all ages coming up with something that is their dream, but also is a game changer in the world. And so I'm really quite honored, Will, to be part of this process with you. And I'm also sincerely inspired and hearing the Camino calling genuinely. So I want to just tell you, it's my honor to have you here today. And I know that we will be sharing this video quite a lot because surprisingly, one of the beautiful things in the last 21 years of doing Autism Tree is most families who have a family member who's neurodiverse or has autism, usually that neurodiverse person actually really loves to travel, loves history, is very, very knowledgeable on the world and current events. I find that to be really, really common. So I just wanted to share that with you, given that we're talking about travel and kind of expanding the world for both sides. Like you said, people in Europe hadn't met someone from America. So this is really, really, really special, what you've experienced and what your dreams now have come from it. So with that, I want to turn it over to you and give you a warm welcome and say thank you so much.
Awesome, Dana. Thank you so much for that introduction. Yeah, for those who don't know me, my name is Will Soiland. I'm 25 years old. I'm a graduate of both Pepperdine University and University of Southern California. Currently work right now as a mechanical engineer for an engineering consulting firm down in Southern California. But today I want to be speaking about my journey on the Camino de Santiago and moving forward from that. So let me share my screen. Oh, come on. Sorry, let's see if this will.
Click the slideshow button at the top right. Usually.
There it is. All right. Perfect. Yes. So my journey on the Camino de Santiago and moving forward from that. I want to give again a quick thank you again to Dana Hoff for just giving me this amazing opportunity to be able to share my journey and share my experience of what I did out there. Thank you so much, Dana, for giving me this platform, for being able to speak today. I greatly appreciate it. I also want to give a quick shout out to my sister Emmy, who's just an amazing and supportive sister. She is the reason how I know Dana, as over 10 years ago, she babysat Dana's son Garrett. And through that experience, they became very close friends. And over the years, Dana has visited us back in Santa Rosa, my hometown, and has just become basically like a family friend to us, just has become incredibly close with us. And we are just so grateful that Dana is in our lives and that as we just continue to grow and just know more about each other. So thank you again, Emmy and Dana. And without further ado, I'll get right into what the Camino de Santiago is. So for those of you who don't know, the Camino de Santiago is a pilgrimage. It is originally it is a spiritual journey where people from all over in Europe have been doing this for thousands of years, would come and all walk to one goal, which was the city of Santiago de Compostela, because within that city is a cathedral, and within that cathedral is the tomb of Saint James, who was the apostle of Jesus from the Bible. Now, the Camino de Santiago has many routes that people can take in order to get to that destination. Their symbol is the scallop shell, as it's many different branches, but they all come to one destination. Specifically, the route that I did on the Camino was the Camino Frances, which was the most popular route located in the northern part of Spain. You start off in the town of Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port in France, actually, and you're basically only there for one day. And then you do the entire rest of the journey in northern Spain. Now, this is typically a 33-day journey, as it actually is 500 miles long, and it is a long journey to take. And you cross through many different climates. You go through many different cities along the way, and you stay at different hostels along the way too, meeting just so many extraordinary people. And this journey really called to me because this happened at a point in my life where I thought I had everything pretty much set up, was ready to go to start with work after graduating college. And then that job unfortunately fell through. But I was able to think to myself, all right, this is a journey that I've been wanting to do for a long time. Was actually inspired by my parents as they showed me a movie about it a long time ago called The Way. Highly encourage anyone to watch it. Um, but this journey really spoke to me because it sounded like something I feel like I needed in my life, something that I wanted to do in order to, I feel like, sort of find myself in a way, um, and to kind of prove to myself that I can do something as strenuous and as crazy as this looks. So I decided to set out and go for it in April of this year. I started out in France in Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port, and this was a very tough day as I had arrived completely jet lagged from the night before, came over by train and started off at 9 a.m. and had walked for exactly 12 hours, and I didn't get to my destination, which was over a mountain range at 9 p.m. That same day. And not only that, it was a 5,000 foot elevation gain, as well as 18 miles total in walking. And I had never done anything like that in my entire life. And so I was just very, very tired. My body was very broken, spirit a little broken too, maybe. But but I knew that I needed to do this task, to keep going and to push on, because I saw just so much value into doing this journey, as people have been doing this for thousands of years. After that first day in France, things got a little bit easier. The terrain got a little bit better. Over time, my body slowly got adjusted to everything, but would still hurt every once in a while. But I was able to enjoy the beauty of the Spanish countryside. I had never really seen anything quite like this before, as I was walking through so many different types of farmland, like wheat fields, mustard, uh, crossing over valleys and rivers, just going through so many incredible areas that every day it just felt like a gift to be able to experience it. I was just amazed at what the beauty of this countryside had to offer, and as well as the amount of time I had to just reflect on my life and what I wanted to do moving forward. Here's some more pictures of just kind of showing the countryside. On the left was a Polish woman I had met. We were walking through these blooming trees through this one hilly part that was on the way. So I thought that was really beautiful. Yeah, so many fields that you go through. That bottom picture is actually a wine country part of Spain. So I figured I had to include that as I'm originally from wine country, so I always like to see how other people are trying to copy us. And then on the right is me crossing through a forest that's up a mountain. So just so many different, terrains that you have to cross through, and just so much to see. But again, I felt like every day was just a gift, and it was just amazing to be able to see this. Not only walking through the countrysides, but I also got to pass through many towns and villages as well. Some were huge sprawling cities, and some were just small little couple of houses per that area. I mean, there was some city or some towns where there was just nothing. Um, but I enjoyed all of it nonetheless. I mean, the huge cities were amazing to see for just the amount of culture that was there. Seeing and going through these huge cathedrals that were in each of these towns were just marvels of their own. And then it was amazing to go through the small villages as well, as it was nice to be able to just to be able to relax and to be somewhere calm and to reflect on where I had gone and where I had come from so far and how much left I have to accomplish. Here's some more pictures from that. Thought it was a really beautiful tree grove in one city. On the bottom is a mural of characters from that movie I talked about, The Way. So I thought that was kind of funny to be able to see that over there, that people know about it. That top picture of me is at a wine fountain that they give for free wine to any of the pilgrims that are on their journey. So obviously I had to load up as much as possible because I would never get that experience again. And then on the right was just an amazing cathedral I had the chance of going into. And to be able to see the light reflect through the stained glass was just truly breathtaking. As you know, I don't really see much of that back here in the States. So to be able to experience that was truly, truly beautiful. I want to talk about this slide a lot specifically, as there's a lot going on here. Starting from the left, that picture, you see there's the post that has the amount of kilometers left until you reach that final destination, that church containing the tomb. There's many of those markers along the way. You start at basically 800 kilometers, and it shows as you go, as you keep walking down the path each day, how that number gets lower and lower. But you don't really think much of it, actually. You just look at it and you just, as you're doing it, you look at it and you see it's just a giant number. And you just think to yourself, all right, like that doesn't really mean much to me. I know I just still have such a long ways to go. But as I kept going and as I got closer and closer to my destination, and as that number got lower, that's when that's when it got real. That's when it started to get really, really real that, oh my God, like I'm doing this and I'm actually getting closer and closer to that goal. And by this point too, at that last 100 kilometers, like my body felt amazing. I had never felt so healthy before in my entire life. Waking up every day, walking 6 hours, walking 15 miles a day. My body had just gotten used to it, and it felt so good. I loved it. And along the way too, I mean, I started off just by myself, but I met so many people from all over the world that were also doing this journey. You know, we all had come from so many different backgrounds, and we're all just, you know, very different people. But it was amazing to see the similarity with everyone of, you know, that this Camino brought all of us together, and it brought all these people from all over the world to be able to do this similar journey because they saw the value in it. And I thought that was really special to be able to bond over something as deep as the Camino. And then that last picture was just truly amazing. Was when I finally reached that cathedral. Me and that group, we were running that day to get there. And when I finally got there, I just threw my backpack like on the ground and I just like shouted out like just in pure happiness the fact that like I'd finally made it and had reached
Are you going off site?
yeah.
All right.
It was incredible.
Where are you guys going? It's Haiphong?
And so
To finish this up, but maybe another time.
I think someone
Maybe
says.
that.
There we go. Sorry, somebody.
No worries. Yeah, so it was just incredible finally reaching that goal and to be able to walk in there and see the tomb myself. Yeah, I just couldn't believe I had done something like this after 33 days, 500 miles, reaching this goal. And so now comes the fun part where you're all probably asking yourself, why am I talking about this? Well, I saw this as a very life-changing experience. Not only did I get to see something extraordinary and meet so many amazing people, but the huge value that I got out of this was that it boosted my confidence a lot in the ability to be able to just pivot from something going wrong on any day that out there as sometimes the weather was terrible, but sometimes it was great as well. The ability to talk to people and ask for help when you need it. It really was life changing. Being able to be experiencing this culture and being immersed in it was just absolutely incredible because it really pushed me out of my comfort zone, and it made me feel a way that I never really felt before. I felt like maybe it was always there inside me, but it never bloomed, I guess is the correct word for it. And so it got me thinking actually, like a lot when it comes to traveling, especially for our own country. So here's some fun statistics. Was 52% of Americans do not actually have a US passport. Specifically, 36% of those 18 to 29 don't have one. Americans age 65 and older are twice as likely to travel than those under the age of 30. And 2/3 of upper income Americans have traveled at least to 5 countries, compared to with 9% of Americans with lower incomes. So all this to say, surprisingly, I was the first American that some Europeans had ever met. And I'm saying this both for some young ones as well as older generation Europeans. And I thought that was crazy. I thought that was very surprising, um, because we are such a big country. We have the third largest population in the world. We are a world global superpower, and we're involved in so much in foreign affairs. Yet, pretty much half our country doesn't leave, or has never left, has never had the opportunity to leave. And I was inspired by that actually a little bit, and it got me thinking when I was out there about doing something actually about that. And all that to say is it inspired me to want to start a nonprofit, which I call United States of Adventure. Now, this is something that I feel very passionate about, because I really want to help those that have never had the ability to travel, who have never had a passport before, to leave the country and to do a life-changing journey. Specifically 18 through 21-year-old Americans who have been accepted to a college program but have never done this. I want them to experience both a self-guided and a self-directed international expedition to a country of their choosing. And the reason why for all of this is because I see so much value in people being able to do this from our country. I think it'll help them develop leadership, global citizenship, language skills, intercultural awareness, entrepreneurship, and professional development. I think this is incredible, that could be offered to so many more people in this country. And I think if more people traveled, there would be a lot more love and a little bit less ignorance in this world. And with that, I want to give also a quick shout out to my good friend Bradford, who I think is in this Zoom call with us. He is a really great friend of mine. We met 6 years ago together at Pepperdine University. And over the years, we have also traveled and camped and explored what this world has had to offer. And not only is he such a seasoned traveler, but he also is an executive, district executive for the Boy Scouts of America, a very big, obviously a very big nonprofit within this country. So he has not only so much experience with travel, but also knows what it's like working in the nonprofit realm, as well as dealing with others in that. So I felt like that was just an incredible valuable trait to have. So I'd love to welcome on board with that as well. Just briefly going through the program here, what I would love to see happen would be around 3 rounds of interviews, from an initial screening, them interviewing with us, the founders, as well as a panel interview where they state their case with the board. Applicants who are selected, we would then title them as adventurers. I would want this grant to specifically cover any costs that involve with, dealing with acquiring a passport, flight, acquiring that equipment, food, lodging, ground transportation, and any kind of emergency funds. We've budgeted it to be around $3,200. Now, how we acquire these funds would hopefully go through the rounds of acquiring grants, private donations, fundraising, and online crowding events. But the main thing I want to talk about is how I want them to be able to travel to any part of the world. But to start off, I'd want them to specifically do the Camino de Santiago. And as this has greatly impacted my life, as you've just heard, but I feel like it can be very beneficial for those as well. I want them to be able to design it how they want. They can do the entire thing if they so choose. The last 100 kilometers, which is actually the official amount that most people can do to get a certificate saying you did it, or just a distance of their choosing. They'd complete a series of checkpoint destination cities along the way for this money to be allotted, check in with specific hostels that we have prior agreements with. But a huge thing also is that I want these adventurers to be filling out a digital survey of their experience along the way that will also contain a journal section for them to be able to talk about what they've experienced and how they feel during this time at that specific time. And I want that journal portion later to be mailed back to that adventurer for keeping, because I feel like that'd be just an amazing thing for somebody to have, to be able to reflect back on that experience. These adventures, once they're done with that program, I want to create a community from it. And I want that community to help encourage others to partake in something like this as well. I mean, the overall goal of this is to help young adults get out of their comfort zones, and who dream of doing a trip like this, but lack the funds or structure of a program to do so. I want to be able to change and impact their lives in a way that it's done at a very young and impressionable age, so that hopefully will carry with them for the rest of their life. Next steps with that, of course, would be obviously still working with certain people to be able to file it as a 501c3 to become that official nonprofit entity. Still working and building up the website and official applicant portal. Still have to iron out some kinks of the program and formalize it, of course. But another thing too is I want to plan and execute another trip. It's the sister walk of the Camino that I heard when I was out there and have been researching since then. That's in southern Japan. It's also another pilgrimage where you go through certain temples in the mountain ranges there, and you get to experience that side of the world as well. This is, yeah, a future program that I want adventurers to partake in, and I want them to do a journey that we have done, so that we know the route and know that what they're getting into, and also to establish relationships with hostels along the way. The goal is to be able to try to do this in spring of 2025. So we'll see, but that is the goal there. And as well as finding our future adventures, there's a couple ways, we could go about it: online advertising, partnering with other organizations, as well as reaching out and partnering with schools, specifically community colleges. Now, again, all this to say, how does this all tie in? Well, again, much love and special thanks again to Dana Hoff for being able to give me this platform and letting me able to speak my story and my dreams for what I want to do. She was one of the first people I called actually when this idea came to my mind. And for that, I want to really just thank her so much, because she's been a huge help and inspiration for what it's like to run a nonprofit, as she's the co-founder and executive director of Autism Tree. So she has much experience, and there's so much I can learn from that. And as part of that, she was saying, I want to partner with the kids from Autism Tree in order to give them, when they're older, the chance to be able to complete this amazing journey. As she said, these people, they would love to travel. They would love to be able to do something like this. And I see this as so important for them as well, because it's, allows them to build independence, confidence, as well as just to be able to develop those problem-solving skills as they navigate these new environments. I just see that as incredibly valuable, and I think anyone is welcome to partake in such an incredible journey. So with that, I want to say thank you.
Thank you so much, Will. We'll take questions from anybody who'd like to take questions. You can type them in the chat or unmute yourself right now too.
Can we put Will up on the big screen where the Q&A is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Rebecca, Todd, just real quick. Will, incredible. Your articulation is so dead on. And I just want you to know that you've inspired Dana. Dana's now training. She wants to do the hike as well. So you've already changed my world. Thank you. Keep doing what you're doing.
Well, thank you, Todd. I greatly appreciate that. I'm happy to help.
I do want to give a shout out. Let's say,
Rebecca, how do we move the Q&A and put Will in there?
Will, can you stop sharing your screen, please?
Yeah.
You need to be on the big screen. There, yay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So
this is really funny, Will. I'm sorry to Rebecca to interrupt you, but I want to pile on to what Todd said. I've never, Todd always wants me to buy an Apple Watch. I don't even wear a watch. Now I'm obsessed. I think about the Camino every day, and I'm seriously trying. I get up to this morning, I got up and walked 5 miles, and I'm thinking about the Camino the whole time. I'm going to do this. I'm trying to do 5 miles a day. I don't get it every day, but it is my goal, and my Apple Watch tells me when I'm not doing it. I'm trying to close my rings too, so I'm fit enough to do this, but it is my intention to do to book a hike. And I think that your presentation really breathes life into exactly the steps that we need to take, that you're taking. And I want you to know, on my end, I see our kids doing amazing things with all kinds of groups all the time to open up their worlds and expand. And And I think it's incredibly important. And I just want to keep encouraging you that you've come so far since our first phone call, and it brings me a lot of joy, and I'm sincerely counting this as a blessing today.
Well, thank you so much, Dana. That means a lot. I mean, and the phone calls will definitely keep coming because I know, I can, or I know I definitely need to just hear more from you and gain as much experience as I can in this new journey that I want to undertake.
I want to get on.
And now we have oh, go ahead.
First of all, am I on?
Yes.
Will, I'm so proud of you. I'm a proud mom. And like Todd said, Will, you articulated beautifully, and you always had a nice smile on your face, and it drew me in. And I just am so proud of you, and I'm thankful that you did this. And Dana, I want to go with you on the Camino de Santiago.
Okay, get your Apple Watch and start training, Bo. We're doing it. He has the date on there. I'm like, well, can we maybe put it later in the year, just a little bit? Because I want to do it next year with you, Will.
I want to do it next year. Yeah, that's the same thing. So
Yeah,
That trip to Japan sounds amazing
Yeah.
as well.
I know we got to
I'm
all
in.
go on it, Dean. Todd really wants to go to Japan too. So let's all start training. That's one thing I did recognize, Will, in your presentation, that people, that are in their 60s and over are doing it. They are doing these travels. And you probably experienced that when you were out there doing the Camino, right?
Yeah, actually, that was one thing I should have said early on was I was like one of the few young people to also be doing something like this. Most people, that were doing it were definitely 65 and up, well, retired, again, probably had the time to do it. But there were some young people that I did meet along the way. There's like a traveling band of Italians. Those people were fun. And yeah, like those people from the picture as well, and just some other groups that have come and gone, but that were around my age. And they were all kind of feeling the same way that was feeling, I think, at that time of, wanting to just do something different and wanted to experience something that they felt was meaningful and was impactful and was, soul searching. Something that really cuts deep to the core of what it means to be a person on this planet. And I like that a lot was, seeing the few young people that I did see, share that with me, and all the more reason why I feel like there should be more of my demographic out there.
Yeah, I didn't mean to interrupt Bo and Dean because I'd love to hear more of what you wanted to say to Will, because I find it incredibly valuable, and I do want to share this with you. I'm working really hard right now on bringing Dr. Brian Boyd out to town next week. It'll be his second time visiting. He's our new moderator. We loved our moderator of our conference for 10 years, was Roger Bingham, and he meant so much to our community. And so Dr. Boyd is moderating our whole conference, but he actually, from his first visit out, organically really got to know our Autism Tree board. And our board members largely have children with autism. And so we're doing, for first time ever, this is our actual 10th anniversary of our conference. It's November 8th. And so we're in overdrive on it. And we're doing our first ever panel that is a parent panel. So that's really big on my heart. And I love, Will, that your mom and dad are here. And it's something I feel is really on the forefront of my mind right now at Autism Tree with this conference is we haven't really in our conference had the voices of parents. We've actually been just focused on our community, our neurodiverse community, and giving them a voice. And of course, the researchers. But it's something because we're raised a generation of kids, and Will's, an example of someone who's now going forward in his life. And I think it's a really good time to talk to parents and say, wow, what are the lessons that we can all learn from each other? And how can we keep supporting Will and all of our other kids that are first generation kids in their dreams? Because they're only going to be helping that next generation of kids, which brings tears to my eyes. Like, that's what I see happening. And that's everything. So with that, I didn't mean to be so wordy, but I would love to hear a little bit more, Will, if it's okay, from your mom and dad, just about anything they want to share as your parents.
Yeah,
Sure, they got a lot to
sorry.
say.
We lost our internet connection for a moment, so we missed part of that. But can you guys hear us okay?
Yeah, we can hear you great.
Okay, well, yeah,
Okay.
we tapped out there for a moment. Um, but anyway, just it was fun, getting to see Will's presentation. We obviously got to talk to him and got to see a lot of photographs from his trip, and that was great. Today we got to hear more about his dreams for the nonprofit, and that was new territory. And the basis of this Zoom session or this group today is, you're all brought together by this nonprofit that you have. So what a great resource for Will, and it's great learning experience for us to see the value of a nonprofit and how that can bring people together. And we're super excited. I can't speak for Bo, but super excited to see Will and his dream of a nonprofit that can serve and give back to others.
And it was great, Dana, that Will, you tapped into Dana, and you've been at it for 20 years, Dana, did you say? 15, 20 years?
This is my 21st year, if you can believe it. And we
Wow.
kind of feel, Rebecca and I feel like we're co-parenting Autism Tree. So our baby's 21.
Well, you've done a fine job, and for Will to reach out to Dana that was the best thing to do, actually, to get lots of great ideas. But Will, I have a question for you. When you mentioned about being a self-directed guide, right? You would be directing, and how many people would you end up taking on? I couldn't remember if you said a certain number, or just curious, like 5 couple, what's the best way to kind of do that with somebody who's, you're going to take them on this trip, say to the Camino de Santiago.
Yeah, of course. Actually, the first when we send out the first cohort, which can either be at the same time or spread out depending on each person's schedule, because we want to kind of tailor it around that. The goal was to get around 3 to 5 kids out starting off per year. And then we just want to be able to exponentially grow from that. But, obviously we want to start sort of small to be able to, iron out the kinks of it, be able to see what works, what doesn't, learn from it before, we really scale up, because the ultimate goal is to scale up and get as many people in this as possible. So that's something that I feel very passionate about to be involved in with that recruiting process.
Amazing. And would you have volunteers that come alongside you, or would you again start out, say, by yourself, but and build up to assist you, in this type of journey? So I was just curious. Yeah.
Well, I'd want to scale proportionately. I mean, obviously at the beginning we'll be small with me and Bradford, as well as people that I select to be on the board. Still looking through that, by the way. Want to have at least 5 people for that. But once we start, getting more people through the program, knowing that we can handle more and take on, I definitely want to be able to scale up and have volunteers be a part of it. I'd want this to be an organization that people on both sides can benefit from. People that are actually receiving these grants and traveling, as well as those that are working on this side of it, but helping these people, on their journey, being that voice of reason for them as well. Just to help encourage and let them know that they can do something that they've never done before.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We do have amazing questions in the chat, so I'm going to read off a few for you, Will. First one's from Carolyn. She says, "How has traveling abroad changed your worldview?"
That is a great question from Carolyn. I gotta say, traveling, well, I kind of touched on it a little bit briefly before, but I'd say it really boosted my confidence a lot when it comes to being able to deal with others, especially in such an unfamiliar area. Like, not only are you just, in somewhere you've never been before, but people speak a different language. You know, their trains run on time. They have just a whole different way of going about life. And so to be able to adapt quickly to things you're unfamiliar to be able to adapt to spontaneous change that is always going to happen when you travel. Um, I see that as like very valuable. I see that as a valuable skill that you can take that back with you. You know, when you're home and you're also working with others, or maybe gives you the opportunity to want to work more with others because you're able to see how you're able to do that over there and now apply it back here. And then another thing too is I really do feel like the more people that travel, the more that people understand that you know, the world isn't just revolving around you. That you know, there's so many different people experiencing so many different things at this moment right now. Um, but we all have a lot of things that we, you know, share in common as well that I don't think a lot of people realize. And when you travel, you notice that. And you know, maybe sometimes too, you don't vilify people as much as when you actually get to see what they're like and experience their culture when you're there. And I think it just promotes a lot more love and, you know, just overall less ignorance in this world if more people were able to experience other cultures and to constantly be involved in what's going on.
Great answer. Another one's by Joseph. He said, "Great presentation, Will. What were your favorite Spanish dishes to eat along the journey?"
Ooh, that is a good question. But I feel like my favorite was well, actually there's two ways to answer this. Some of the best Spanish dishes I feel like I had were from hostels that I'd stay at, where it was a family style giant paella dish that Spain is very famous for. And so that was fun to be able to, you know, eat such good food as well as just share and talk with other people at the dinner table that, you know, that food had brought you together for basically. And I thought that was just absolutely incredible to experience that. As well as one of my favorite moments on the Camino was actually stumbling upon this one hostel that was available as all the other hostels in this one town I was at were booked up. And this was a donation-based hostel that was at this church. And that was just an incredible experience and one of the best hostels I've ever stayed at because everyone there was super friendly and the dinner especially was all from donation based from pilgrims from the night before staying there. So it's kind of almost like a pay it forward system that they had. And the dinner was just felt very, it wasn't anything too crazy or special. It was just small paella dishes and some bread and wine, but it was a very special experience. They like sang songs. They had like a whole like chant about the Camino as well that we went over that they taught us. And they really they told us just how important this journey is, and not just, you know, once you complete it you're done. No, like they told us like you're a pilgrim for life. When you do this, you're always going to want to journey. You're always going to want to explore and keep traveling in this world and see what this world has to offer. And I just thought that dinner experience wasn't just so impactful for my life. And yeah, I loved every second of it.
Oh, I love it. I have two questions. One is, did you speak any Spanish before you did this? And two, how did you plan logistically? Did you plan all of the hostels that you went to before the trip, or did you just do it on the trip?
Uh, Great question. No, I didn't know really any Spanish before doing this. I mean, a couple phrases here and there. But I will say there, over time, you know, just by being there within a month, I was able to pick up on a lot of phrases and was able to, you know, do basic things like order food at a restaurant or cafe. And actually, at one point, I even helped like an older lady who couldn't speak a lick of Spanish, like to help with that. So I felt like a huge translator in that point of my life. So that was cool to feel there. But yeah, I it definitely inspired me more just the power of language and you know how it's so easy for us. We all speak English here, and you know a lot of the world also speaks English as well. So when we travel, it's no big deal. But there were a lot of parts in Spain where they only spoke Spanish, and so that you had to get a little bit more creative of. And yeah, I realized the absolute value in speaking a different language. So I thought that was crucial. Um, another thing with the hostels is it depends what time of the year you go in. I went during usually a pretty pretty common time to go, but not like that busy. But the entire time I was there, they were just saying how this is the busiest year they've ever experienced. I think a lot of people were coming off of COVID, wanting to travel and to do something like this, and so everyone had the same idea of wanting to walk the Camino at that time, I guess. And so a lot of places were more packed at that time than they should have been. But I was still able to find hostels along the way. No problem. Something always just happened to work out, thankfully, that I was very appreciative of. Sometimes I would book ahead for maybe a nicer hostel as a, as a treat to myself, but for the most part, I would just walk up to the front door and just ask if they had a room, and that's what you got. And yeah, I was just appreciative to have a bed to sleep on that night.
That's awesome. A few other just comments. Jacob said, love the mission here, Will. Travel is an enlightening experience, and I seriously can't wait to see your program grow. And then Alex commented, count me in for going to the Camino de Santiago next year. And then Day also asked, she said she loved the presentation. What was your biggest challenge you faced on your journey? And how would you go about it for your next trek?
That's a good question. Well, there are a couple things. For one, the weather was really unpredictable, and for some reason, I didn't really take that much into consideration when I had packed ahead. So I had to be able to buy a poncho when I was out there to be able to walk through some rainstorms for a couple weeks. So that was intense, but it was also very rewarding. Once you actually got to your destination, and when the weather cleared up, it felt a lot better. So probably prepare more for looking, what the weather has to offer. Um, Specifically though, there was one day on the Camino where there was like nothing for miles. Like there was no town, no village. It was like everyone talks about it. It's like a 17-kilometer stretch of just nothing, just grass field essentially. And that was a weird, interesting challenge in itself because you're really kind of alone. Like that was a point too where I wasn't really walking with anyone, and I was very alone with my own thoughts, and just kind of had like a lot of like reflection going on in my life, and was thinking like how I'd come to this point, as well as what I want moving forward. Um, and so that was a little bit tough though, in a sense that I wasn't used to something like that. But when I had finished it, I was really grateful for it because I didn't realize until I looked back at some text messages. It was actually during that time when I had texted my good friend Bradford that I was thinking about starting some kind of charity for helping kids walk the Camino. So I think out of those kind of struggles, some good ideas can come about it.
Speaking of Bradford, he commented and said, United States of Adventure, can't wait to meet the first cohort and hear about the challenges they overcome.
Me too.
I love it, Bradford. I welcome anybody to unmute themselves too and introduce themselves if they want to say anything before we go to Will.
Yeah, Will, I want you to know Karen Wright is on here, and she's been our director of ministry for the whole 21 years, and large quantity of our Autism Tree community has experience praying with Karen, and it's really her gift. Rebecca and I depend on Karen every single week, multiple times a week, with just families that we are involved with that are having a serious crisis. So Karen is right there, and it really doesn't matter in the 21 years we've been doing this, if someone believes in God or not, what their religion is. It's just Karen's gift to the world. And so I want you to know she's on here. And I think she even commented. Did Karen comment to Will?
Yes, she did. It says, Will, your joy is infectious. You are a natural born leader, and may God bless you every step of the way.
Oh, well, thank you, Karen. I greatly appreciate that a lot. Thank you.
Yeah, and Will, I want to say another thing about parents, just because I'm kind of on this, forgive me, but this thought process right now as I'm preparing for our first ever parent panel. I'm always amazed at the people that I'm involved with in my life, both with neurodiverse family members or without. You know, just like yourself, you're a college graduate. You know, you're just launching out, and I do see that there's a really strong thread across the board that parents still are, you know, very much involved in I think the success that I'm seeing of young people. And I know Todd and I are, you know, very involved with Garrett, though he's charting his own course. And I think just as running Autism Tree, I really want you to know that it's such an important element of the Autism Tree's fiber is that we want to see doors open as much as possible for everyone we're involved with, whether they're neurodiverse or a family member or you know, part of our actual team. I mean, my heart since we've been talking is to somehow be as involved as you want me to be in this, just because I just see so much value in you doing this. It's like too many different reasons to even list, but I do want you to see that I see there's this important element for you, and I hope all of our generations of kids to not forget how valuable parents are. And I'm saying this because I want to bring forward, going forward every year, parents' voices more to the forefront, because I feel like it's a great synergy. You know, that parents are not going to hold you back. They're going to, I think there's a synergy of learning from each other. We've lived more life than you, but at the same time, you're adapting to this new world that I personally have a hard time adjusting to all that's going on with technology and other things in the world. And I feel like I learn so much from the younger generations every single day. And Rebecca and I working together, I really enjoy it. We're from different generations, and I feel like we're stronger because of it. And I absolutely love working with Rebecca every day. And so I want to kind of plant that seed with you that I hope that you don't just keep young people around you in your inner circle moving forward. Make sure you have, you know, multiple generations and some that are older than you. And I think it's a really good mix when you do that. You know, I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, but it's just something Rebecca and I've only been working really closely like we have been since how long, Rebecca? How many years has it been now?
Since 2020 and 2021.
Yeah. Like Rebecca was here and she worked directly with Lisa. And then when Lisa moved, Rebecca and I have been working closely together since the pandemic. But I think you know, the more that we can learn from each other, the better. But I'm really inspired by your parents also because of my relationship with Emmy. And I think, you know, when Emmy was in college, I spent lots and lots of time with her. And there's no way to sort of exaggerate that some of the things I still use today, I kind of actually learned from Emmy, like about entropy versus negentropy is just something that is meaningful to me to this day. And that all came directly from your sister. Well, I was like, what are you talking about? She would use the words like entropy because she would be learning it at school. And you know what? She would use travel as an example. I'm not kidding you of how to explain entropy to me.
Oh, wow.
So, like now in practical terms, how I use it is we know immediately if we're interviewing someone, if that person falls under entropy or negentropy, it's very, very clear. And usually, you know, when you ask someone why they left an organization that they've been in, it's because of entropy. They weren't getting there wasn't a purpose happening, there wasn't a mission. Things were, you know, kind of in not organized enough, like these type of things. But when Emmy explained it to me, she used her travels from, I think it was when I kept going, when is she going to come home? Was that when she was in, I think, Peru, right?
Sounds about right. Yeah.
You've been there long enough. You need to come home. But, you know, I give your parents a lot of respect that you're, you know, I know how much Emmy loves traveling, and now to experience it with Will is just, it says a lot about you as parents to make Will be able to have that kind of confidence to just go out there and do 33 days and 500 miles. I was jaw dropped when he told me. And I was a little upset when Emmy wouldn't come home from Peru because she loved it so much. But I'm really glad that you thought enough of me and Autism Tree to let us be part of this in any way that makes sense to you. But I just want to give you nothing but respect on what you put together today. It's really impressive, and I can tell you worked really hard on it.
Oh, well, thank you, Dana, for all of that. I greatly appreciate you telling me that. And, again, very thankful for my parents for, I think, also instilling in me at a young age the value of travel. Yeah, I just see it as just such an important thing, and I'm very grateful for where I am today because of it.
Oh, well, keep pushing toward that date, and I think it'll happen. Do all your other parts. We always usually close by taking a picture with all the group that's here today for your memory. So I gotta bring up everybody. If you're not on your screen, if you're not showing your face, and you can, it would be nice if you do for Will for this lunch and learn today. Hi, Annie. Oh, sorry, I didn't even know you were here until this moment. So fun to see you. Oh, your baby looks great. Coming soon. Emmy, do you want to say anything? No. I can't help it. I'm so excited to see you on here.
Okay, everybody just look at the camera.
Okay.
Smile. I'll do the picture. Ready? 3, 2, 1, cheese. Perfect.
Emmy, I have tears in my eyes. I can't help it. I'm like seeing your little baby bump and everything. Oh, so excited for you. And it was beautiful having Will here today and your parents. I feel very emotional right now. So proud of you guys. It's so great to have everybody here together. Thanks to everybody who came out today. And this will be recorded, Will, and you can use it however you'd like, and we'll be using it on our end too.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Dana.
Thank you.
David.